So in this Mobius Camera Quick Tip, what we're going to do is adjust the focus. In one of my other videos, I actually replaced the original lens that came fitted to the camera with this one, which is the wide-angle version. But the wide-angle version one is very slightly out of focus. And we can fix that because on each of the lenses that come in the Mobius, there's this very small screw here. Now this small grub screw, that's what the Allen key comes for in the kit that you get with the Mobius. This I think is 0.9 millimeters and it fits in the grub screw. You can undo it slightly and then rotate the lens to adjust the focus. So we're going to do that here. Now, one of the things we're going to have to do is be able to see the video as we are recording. The simplest way is to hook that up to something with an RCA connector. I've got a ground station that will take this, but you'll also find these connectors on the back of kind of TVs and other bits and pieces. So if you can just plug this into your TV in the lounge or whatever, you can do it. Ideally, you want to be focusing on something a number of feet away to get the focus right, because that's what you're going to be looking at. You're not going to be looking at things up close when you're using this camera as a dash cam or on a craft. We'll also be using the cable, the FPV cable. This is the one that I modified and made up so it fits into the Fat Shark transmitter, and we're going to plug this extension onto the other end. Now the way this works, you can see that we have the power lead on one side, the earth in the middle and the signal on the other side. So we're going to plug it in so the RCA connector connects the same way, so that the middle is the ground and the outside is signal. So that will allow us to plug it into something RCA. Now the only other thing we need to do is to take the case off this, and that's pretty straightforward. There are just two screws at the front and then it opens up like a clamshell, and then I would suggest that you just put two little dots on the lens before you undo it, just so you have a reference point on the bottom of the lens and the bit that rotates. And that then also allows you to see how far you're moving it and whether it's making it better or not. It just allows you to keep track. If you don't, it's easy to get lost, speaking from personal experience. So what I'll do is I'll set this up outside, and I'll actually go through the process of moving this ring and looking at it live on the camera until it's as sharp as I can get it, and I'll show you that video next. So let's get all the bits and bobs together and go outside. So here we are in the back garden. Here is the trusty ground station. This is the first one that I ever made. There's another video on that shows how I put the screen in and the other bits and pieces. I'm going to run it from the LiPo, and here's the Mobius with the case uncracked, and you can actually see at the front I have those two silver dots that will mark where I started from. So what I'll do is I'll actually undo that grub screw just a couple of turns so it's freed up, and then mount it so it's looking into the garden, and then move the lens. I'll actually record it as I do it. Just be aware though, that lens is very stiff, so you have to really use a little bit of pressure and force to rotate it in place. So let me do that, and then we'll look at the video as I record it on the end, and we'll also look at how much I had to move the lens to get it perfect. So as you can see, I had to move the lens a little bit actually to get it spot on. Where it was as it came shipped was towards one end, and the way I found is easiest is you move the lens until it goes fuzzy in both directions, and then in between those two, the middle point between those 2 points of rotation is usually perfect. So let's just have a look at the video and I'll show you what I mean. Apologies for all the fingers that are in the way. Here's how we started off, and the way you can really see the improvement is looking in the branches of the tree. And you'll notice that in this first image it's quite fuzzy, and if I then swipe across to the new image, you can see that by adjusting the lens that little bit, it's now pretty pin sharp. So hopefully for those of you who have a Mobius camera or looking to play with it, this is the simple way to do it. If however you find that you do this process and one side of the image is slightly fuzzier than the other, then what you have to do is at the back of the lens there's the two holding screws that hold the CMOS sensor in the back. you have to shim one of those out a little bit, and it's a bit of trial and error. If you do that, because the CMOS sensor isn't mounted perfectly flat, then you have to make sure that there are no light leaks in the case. Otherwise, you occasionally get light leaking in the side. So hopefully that's useful for anyone that's looking. Please like, subscribe, and as always, happy flying.